Then below we have the unison section. This is probably the best area of the global settings and the one that you might find yourself going to the most. Particularly this width control here. If you remember me mentioning when I was first talking about unison that detuning on its own doesn't cause any extra stereo width. However, these unison voices are actually panned left and right as default. And if you want to bring them into the center, you need to go to the global settings and then bring down this width. Just so you can hear that, if I increase the number of unison voices, so there we have 5 voices in total, 2 either side of the main central one. And there's a bit of detuning there, but there's also quite a bit of width. But if I go to the global section and bring that width down, you'll hear it goes all to the center and becomes mono. So here's where you can control that, which is very handy. And you've also got all sorts of additional parameters here for playing around with your unison voices, including giving them their own individual warp amount, their own wavetable position, which we'll hear if, for example, I add some bend. And then I go to the global and I give them all their own individual warp amount. It just gives it a bit more interest and also a bit more spread. So you can also play around with the wavetable position of each one, which is very cool. You can stack them up in various ways across different octaves. And you can set the spread of them. At the moment, it's set to linear, so they're equally spaced, but you can change the spacing and the detuning amounts as you like there. For example, let's just show you random. If I now go to my unison voices and click on it, you can see they are, rather than being evenly spaced, are kind of randomly positioned there. So again, it allows you to create extra interest and variation in your sounds as a result of their unison voices. And finally at the top, as I didn't mention it, this is the range of detuning. So at the moment it's already set quite high, probably higher than you'd need it. But if you wanted to go really high, you can go ridiculously high there. Then with this random setting, you can create all sorts of mental effects. And finally then, these central settings here, or you can see what they do. For example, you could select to have the piano keys hidden as default, which you can just turn on there. Obviously the keyboard is normally shown at the bottom. By the way, you can turn that on and off in the menu here whilst the plugin is open. You've also got tooltips on and off there if you're finding the tooltips annoying. Show values when adjusting controls, and all these other ones. Things like mod wheel being automatically assigned to the wavetable position whilst the wavetable editor is open is another one as well, which we can play around with a bit later on. Whenever you turn any of these on or off, for example, the piano keys one, you would then need to click save, which is this disc at the top here. If you do that, next time you open up the plugin on a track, you'll notice the piano keys won't be shown, so it will have saved your preferences. So now we've gone through all of the controls and main sections. We'll go back to looking at the oscillators and a deeper exploration of wavetable synthesis and the sorts of things you can do there to create your own awesome sounds. So I'll see you then.